What's going on, guys, and welcome to a new episode of the Ultimate Ironman series. In the last episode, we started training Slayer, and in this episode, we'll both be continuing doing that, and we'll also be doing some clues. Apart from that, we made a promise to Twitch chat, which required us to do one of the most tedious quests in the game. We just killed some rats for a 39 task, and now we get blood veils in the God Wars dungeon. Yeah, this is actually a terrible task. Like, we would need some god items to actually do this, and even then it's a really annoying task. Yeah, this for sure is a skip. So let's try again. Black demons. Yeah, I think black demons in general are a block because they are pretty hard to kill, high defense, high health, and also a very long task, which means in terms of points this will be really, really bad. I think we'll put this on the block list. Yeah, for sure we'll put this on the block list. So let's block the black demons and then try again. Hellhounds. I think hellhounds are also a block. I don't think I would really mind this task too much, but I think it's still a pretty long task. And also in the UIM Discord, which is a very nice resource, they say it's actually a block, so let's trust on that. Yeah, so let's put these on the block list and then check again. Daggett and Waterbird. Think not the best task, pretty annoying location. But yeah, it should be totally fine. This is definitely the task we just do. For us, it's actually pretty annoying to go to Relica since we don't have any diary completed. So the way I usually just go there is by moving my house there and then just teleporting there. This makes it so we pay some GP because usually our house is in Prifddinas and we pay 50k for that. The house in Prifddinas is actually really nice for UIM because whenever you deadbank, you are very close to a house portal, which makes you able to go back to your deadbank fairly quickly. But I think we have plenty of money, so I don't really mind doing this. And I think the fastest way to go here otherwise than this would be the Camelot teleport, which is quite a walk, so yeah, this is probably just the way to go. The Dagonets in the catacombs are actually pretty AFKable since they are aggressive, but it seems to be the case they aren't aggressive here. I could kinda try to find a good location. Also, it's not multi, so I cannot even tag most of them. Also should be careful for the rock crabs, they seem to be aggressive. Yeah, let me figure out a nice way to do this, but I think this task isn't really AFKable, which is kind of a pity. Like as I said, in the catacombs they are actually pretty AFKable, only have to watch your prayer. I kind of hope that would also be the case here, but again, it doesn't seem to be. We just got the first brimstone key from the task, and indeed, I think this task isn't really the best to get. The drops are pretty good though, we get a lot of seeds here and also a lot of herbs. And if we would compare this to like a Hellhound or a Black Demon task, we probably finish this way faster. So still task we're doing, probably not worth a skip, but we could get better tasks for sure. That's 51 Slayer achieved. For most of these Konar tasks, we have to reset once to get some new prayer potions. This also makes us able to do a farming contract in between, which is just a perfect setup. So even with this limited inventory space, it works out really well. That's the task completed for 90 Slayer points. The Slayer point boosting is working out really, really well. I think in terms of spending our Slayer points, the first priority should always be the blocks. The second priority will probably unlocking superior Slayer monsters, as this is really good for Slayer EXP and also gives us the chance on an imbued heart. Obviously those are very rare, so should probably unlock those as soon as possible. We also got 2 brimstone keys and a medium clue from this. Let's see if we can get some luck on the brimstone keys, and then let's also see if we can complete this medium clue. So with the 2 keys, let's open the brimstone chest. For the first one, some rune full helms, pretty decent money I'd say. And for the second one, some uncut rubies. We could keep these for the crafting EXP, but I think it just wouldn't be worth the inventory slot to keep them, so probably just a drop. The coolest thing to get from the brimstone chest would obviously be the Dusk Mystic pieces. Those are collection lock slots and they also are stored on the player owned house, so for Ultimate Ironman a pretty nice item to get. So let's make a small walk to the West Ardy General Store to sell the rune full helms. That's the room full I'm sold. Let's see if we can complete this clue. Oof, we need to get some items for this. Let me think about this for a second, if it's actually worth to get these items for the clue, and otherwise we'll probably just drop it. Since we want to do some other stuff today, I just dropped the medium clue. We'll get back to that in a second. And also I think we should probably be dropping these barley seeds. We've been holding onto these for a while, but I think they're just not worth the inventory slot. We mostly kept these for birdhouse runs, but we won't be doing any of those for a while. We will probably start doing birdhouse runs again after we unlock Ceradome and Bruce, because this would mean we can keep a stack of noted toad flex potions in our inventory. With this we shouldn't have to drop the bird's nest anymore, but we can just make Ceradome and Bruce on the go. So the thing we want to do today is kind of something that happened in the Twitch chat. Twitch chat always loved to see me do tedious stuff, and Aaron, one of the mods in the chat, wanted to see me do red catches on stream, and red catches is pretty notorious for being a very, very tedious and annoying quest. Before we do this, we want to make sure to unlock the Volcanic Mine Deadbank. We explained this in the last episode, but we can currently not use Hespori as a Deadbank, and for this quest we will need some inventory spaces. Before we could use this Deadbank, we needed 150 museum kudos, as this is the amount you need to actually use the Volcanic Mine. What we want to do now is build the museum camp, and after we build this, we should be able to use the Volcanic Mine, and this will be our Deadbank of choice for a while. We just finished building the museum camp. It was a pretty fast and easy thing to do. And some of these quests in RuneScape have like this impossible name to pronounce, so I'm just going to try to do it once, and after that you guys should be satisfied with that. We are going to do the Equivalence little helper quest. This is a requirement for the Red Catchers quest. After we complete this, we should be totally set up for the Red Catchers quest. For this quest in itself, you don't need to deadbank, not too much items we should take. All we did was just drop some herb seeds in the looting bag. So let's just complete this quest, and after that we can start doing the Red Catchers quest. Yeah, the quest Twitch name we already pronounced is done. Pretty quick and easy quest, not too much issues. We couldn't deadbank for this since there was a small chance of us dying here. And even if there was a very little chance of dying, we probably don't want to stay deadbanked, because obviously when you die while stuff is in your deadbank, you lose all those items, and the risk is most of the times just not worth taking, especially since we didn't really need extra inventory spots for this. During the Red Catchers quest, there shouldn't be any risk of dying, so what we're going to do now is go to the Volcanic Mine, deadbank, and then we should be set up for the quest. Remember how we got the herb sack so we could do urbans a bit more efficiently? By the way, I'm still really liking this. It's a really nice way to do urbans with limited inventory spots. There used to be a little problem with the herb sack though, and I'm really not sure if that still exists. But since you can have a lot of items in here, it can screw over with both your deadball and deadbank. Since like the maximum amount of herbs you can store in here is 420, it could mean that you lose other items, since deadbank and deadball space is pretty limited. Like there cannot be an infinite stack of items. So what we want to do is get rid of all these herbs in the herb sack, so we're just going to take them out and note them. And again, I don't really know if this bug is still around, but I definitely don't want to risk losing any items while going to Deadbank. So let's clean up this herb sack first, and then we'll go to the Volcanic Mine. We just noted all these herbs, and now we'll go to the Ferox Enclave to bag them, because the difference between having all these herbs in the herb sack is that in the herb sack they're all different stack of items, like they're all single stacks of herbs, and when you note them they're only one stack, right? So this means we definitely avoid this bug. Also, our farming contract is ready, so let's make sure to do that before we deadbank. We just arrived at the Volcanic Mine, so let's die here. We also made sure to have 2 herbs out still, which are the Marentil and the Quarms. This makes sure we can just take them out one by one, and we will need these for the quest, because if we would have to take one whole stack of noted herbs, that would mean we lose the inventory spots. But if we just take out one, we should be able to use these for the quest pretty easily. Remember how we used the little boosting trick to make sure we never get stuck on a contract? We also want to do that with the saplings. We will keep these saplings unnoted in the deadbank later. Like if we would die, we would lose them, but the odds of us dying are pretty low with the content we'll be doing in the future. And if we will keep these saplings unnoted in the deadbank, we can always take them out whenever we get stuck on an easy contract, because it can happen that you get a regular tree contract with these, and those seeds are also pretty hard to get as an ultimate ironman. So that's a pretty neat trick with the deadbank. You can always keep items in here that you want to take out on demand, but you definitely want to make sure you only keep items in here that you wouldn't mind losing, because obviously when you die somewhere, you lose all the items in your deadbank. Now I'm just going to wait for the system update, which will happen in 40 seconds. Then I'll figure out my inventory, and I'll get back to you once we did that. Inventory currently set up. We also got all the quest items. The last item should be the red spider axe, which we just picked up. Now we should be ready for the Red Catchers quest, and in a way not really looking forward to this. I never really did this quest because it's not a requirement for any like quest that's really needed. Most of the times people opt to do this as the last quest before their quest cape. And for myself, I never got a quest cape before, so yeah, never really did this quest. Let's figure out how bad it actually is. Only heard bad stories about it, but let's see for ourselves now. We just started out the quest at Gertrude. Now we had to go to the Ferox sewers to catch some rats. Most of this quest isn't even that bad, but there's one specific place where you have to catch some rats. The quest basically consists of catching rats throughout the map, and the specific place is an instant castle, and here guards are walking around, and they can catch you and kick you out of the castle. And I think the reason this quest is so tedious is because it's really easy to get caught at those guards, but we yet have to go there, so let's just see how it is once we get there. We just arrived at the castle, and I think I'll just add some clips later on of me getting very frustrated there, so you guys can enjoy that. Why though? Like, Does it have ice in its back or something? Why? Okay. How is Quest Helper cheating? It still screws us over. Careful with reading. Let's hope it doesn't. Can we hope right now? Let's hope it doesn't turn around. Doesn't work. Logging doesn't work. Okay. After a lot of frustration, trust me, those were only a few of the many clips, we decided to use a Slayer music guide. Yeah, with Slayer music guide, it was actually way, way better. He gave a lot of tips that were very, very helpful for this quest. So if you do this quest, I would definitely advise to use both the quest helper and the Slayer music guide, because he does give some hints that makes this a lot easier. Right now we're basically done with the quest. Like in the quest helper, it says you still have to escape the castle, and I was kind of terrified by this, but instead of escaping, you can also just opt to teleport out. So a couple of rats to catch here, and then most of the annoying part of this quest should be done. This part of the quest, we have to defeat the King Rat. This is a part in the quest that's not really that hard at all. The only thing you have to be careful for is that you use your foot on the hole in the wall and not on the cat itself. This works the same with the Hell Rat behemoths. I definitely learned about this the hard way on my main account when I was gathering spices for a constriction boost. And whenever you are out of food, you can always bulk away and then the fight will end. Might be some tips that will be helpful for some, because if your cat dies here, you will be set back a lot of time. That's the quest completed. It wasn't really as bad as I would have thought. The hardest part in the quest, or maybe like the most tedious one, only takes like half an hour or something. It takes a bit longer when you do this for the first time, since you kind of have to figure out how the guards work. But once you figure this out, it should be a pretty decent quest to do. So, pretty nice to have this quest out of the way, and in the end, not that bad as I would have thought. We are back at the Deadbank. We will basically set up our inventory the same way as we did last episode, just for Slayer and farming contracts. We will also try to unload our saplings, since this will make it so we can take them out one by one for farming contracts. It will be pretty decent, but first, let's die in the Volcanic Mine. I've actually never done the Volcanic Mine in my whole life before, so I kinda had to figure out how we should actually die here. In the end, it turns out there's a golem that spawns here, and the golem will actually kill you. We also made sure to unload our saplings, which should mean we can take them out one by one once they're on the Deadbank. I'm not exactly sure if this will work the way I think it will, but we'll figure that out once we go back to the Deadbank. Time to use the brain to set up our inventory again. Turns out you cannot take the saplings out one by one, they stay in the same stack and you can only take all, so it wouldn't really matter if you would put these in noted or unnoted. It would still be worth it though. Whenever we get stuck on a contract, we'll probably just take them out all, and after that we Deadbank again, because us being stuck on a 3 contract, which we'll have to downgrade twice for, and then we also have to roll on the chance we actually get a 3 contract, those odds will be pretty low, so I think it will rarely happen. So whenever we get that, we just have to go through the hassle, but again, it probably won't happen that often. We took out as many items as possible. Now we just have to bag everything, and then we have to go to the Deadbank to take the rest of the items. I always try to keep the looting bag as organized as possible, so kind of try to put in the runes first, then put in the potions, then put in the herbs. It's just mostly for the aesthetics. I really cannot look at a really unorganized looting bag, so let's just try to keep this as organized as possible. We should now have the exact inventory setup as we had the last episode. I will keep the saplings, the diamonds and the numbelites in here. The diamonds I wouldn't really mind losing that much. They're quite good to have obviously, but when we have to get them back, I think we can just steal some Dorgescan bridge chests. And again, the odds of us dying during Slayer are pretty low. And the same goes for the saplings, not worth the inventory spots, but we only have to take them out for the contracts. And after all of that, time to take out the bow from the stash unit again, and then we should be set up for Slayer. And a small look at the looting bag. As you can see, it's pretty organized right now. Got plenty of herbs in here, got all the potions in here, and also all the runes we don't need. These herbs will slowly stack up. I'm not doing too many herb runs right now, as I'm kind of hoping for the bottomless compost bucket. But yeah, that's kind of something big to hope for, since it's like a 1 in 30 drop, and we cannot really do Hesporic AC too often, since we have to let it grow. So still doing an herb run here and there. I'll probably update you guys once in a while on the herb stacks, but you can just assume they're slowly growing. We got an easy clue from a Sourhog task. While point boosting, we do also get these, and the easy clue should be worth doing since we can get blessings from these, and obviously we can also get items that you will need for medium and hard clues later. So let's see if we will be able to complete this. We got the casket, let's see. Yeah, some black items and the mostly harmless teleport. The teleports are a collection log slot, which is pretty decent I'd say. Other than that, not too useful, we will just drop these. We will now also get some stuff to make the stash unit here, so next time we have to do this clue, we won't have to gather the items again, but we can just keep them in here. Let's build the stash unit. That's the stash unit built. Let's stash the items in here. really nice. We can slowly like fill up these stash units, so each time we get this clue again, we don't have to gather all the items, because obviously as an ultimate Ironman, walking around the map for each single clue isn't really the ideal situation. So whenever we get some clue items, we will always make the stash unit for it. Also, we just ended the stream, so I'm going to do some video editing, and while I do that, I always opt to go to the Ammonite crabs, have to do some hopping again, and after we finish the session, I'll update you guys on the range level. Ended off the Ammonite crab session with 86 range with about 300k EXP left. Our range level is slowly getting up there. Let me store these fossils and then we'll do some point boosting again. Our fossils are stored, and also we let our cat out during this Ammonite crab grind, so it becomes overgrown. And after it was overgrown, we went to the red pits, and there we could turn it into a wily cat. And as I explained before, wily cats deal a bit more damage to hell red behemoths, which will make spicy stew gathering a bit easier in the future. And after the Kronos plant helped us out for about 4 days, we have to replant it. Luckily we got another one from Hespori. We kind of want to try to keep up with these Kronos plants, but they're like a 1 in 3 chance. We can also get an Atlas and Irosaur seed. So whenever we get a Kronos seed, we will always keep them. And we just have to be lucky to constantly get these drops to be able to always have it planted. Like on average, we should be able to keep up with this, as we definitely do 3 Hespori KC every 4 days. So as long as we don't get too unlucky, we should be able to keep these up. We got some acorns from the contracts, and I will make these into oak saplings, and after we deadbank again, we can keep them in there as we did with the other saplings. Also, we are currently stuck on a farming contract. We have a marigold contract, so you know what that means. Let's grab the rogue's outfit and do some thieving. In the last episode, we used this little trick to make Martin, the master farmer and trainer, stuck, and then we could thieve him pretty easily. I will probably only opt to go to trainer when we have to thieve for a while. And since marigolds aren't that rare, I think they're just rare enough to grab our rogue's outfit for it, but not really rare enough to go all the way to trainer. Like, these are just considerations we have to make, and not everything is set in stone. It's just what we think is more chill at the moment. So the rogue's outfit it was, but not really worth the time to go all the way to trainer. And we got them already. This was like 4 minutes of thieving, so even the rogue's outfit probably not even worth it. But at least we're not stuck on the contract anymore, and we can go on with doing Slayer. So with Tyrell point boosting, you have to do a lot of kind of stupid tasks, I'd say. Right now we have to kill like 40 monkeys. But what is really good is that we have a ranged weapon. Since if we would have to do melee Slayer here, we'd have to run to each little monkey. And now we can hit them from a distance. And this makes these point boosting tasks a lot faster. Really great to have the Bofa for this. Could obviously also do this with a ranged weapon that is a little worse. But again, Bofa really nice. We got a hard clue from the Twisted Banshees. We will probably complete this after the task, at least if we can do it. I think this should be a doable clue. Could be that we have to complete Soger Flesh Eaters for this, but we'll just check that out. So we could actually get to this island. Didn't need to complete Soger Flesh Eaters for this. Let's check out if the next step will be Humble as well. It actually is. Really nice. Let's complete the step. Next step is at the Waterfall quest start. Yeah, for sure, also a doable one. Oof, the next one is at the Fairy Resistance hideout. And there could be an issue with this. Let me figure this out. Yeah, I think if you started Fairy Tale Part 2, which you always do to unlock the Fairy Rings, but you haven't finished it yet, the Fairy Queen is sick, and this means you cannot talk to her, so you cannot complete the clue. So that means we just had to drop it. It's time to get another Konar task, and also I don't really know if it's worth it to constantly try to complete these clues, because there are a lot of steps we cannot even do. Something we have to consider, but yeah, we'll just see about it. Trolls on the Dead Plateau should be a pretty doable task, I think. It's for sure not a skip, not the best task, but rather do these in the catacombs, since we can kind of AFK them here with prayer. I think at the Dead Plateau that's not really possible. They are aggressive, but there aren't too many spawns, so let's just figure that out. Yeah, I was right, it's not really possible to like AFK this since there aren't too many spawns. Oh, I was actually about to say we could just safe spot them. But then these other trolls aggro you and it ruins the safe spot. I think we should be able to let our aggression timer run out, and then we should be able to safe spot them. We just let our aggression timer run out, and this does indeed work. This makes his tasks pretty nice. So as you can see, we can just safe spot them like this, and we'll just keep hugging this wall, keep safe spotting them. Saves up on a bit of prayer potions. Like I said this before, we don't really care that much about the prayer potions. We have plenty of them, but saving on them is always good. That's 53 Slayer, means we're 5 levels away from the Black Mask grind. We also got 1 Brimstone Key from these tasks. Again, there isn't really that much good stuff we can get from them, but I just love to roll on those Disc Mystic pieces, because collection lock slots, I always love to see those. That's the task completed. It was also our 50th task, which means we get 270 points from this. Really nice. We are now also at 400 points, which should mean the next Konar task we can unlock the superior Slayer monsters. And this will both really help with Slayer EXP, but also really nice to get the rolls on the imbued heart table. But those superiors will have to wait for the next episode. Did some nice Slayer progress today, also completed Wet Catchers, which was quite the frustrating quest. I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I hope to see you in the next one.